each of these database operations we need to action details, right? So if you go through last week lecture recordings, I have mentioned that separate file for a connection, something like this. So I can create a PHP file and I can save it as a settings.php, right? That settings.php file include all the connection details required. For example, it has the host name, username, password, and then the database. Okay, and each each database operation operations that I have mentioned there, inserting, updating, creating, etc., then I can have a separate file or separate PHP file. For example, this is a screenshot of a create table file. So then I can have a statement like require once settings.php, right? And then I will check the connection. I pass the parameters, all the host user password and database name, and then I check the connection. If the connection is successful, then the create table operations go ahead. Similarly, if I want to insert the record into a table, I can also include the settings files once requirements. Now remember last week I mentioned there is a difference between require once and the include. So in the require once, the difference between require and the include is require will produce a fatal error and stop the script executing. But if I use include, it will produce a warning and the script still will continue. So we don't need actually to continue the script, because if the settings are false, we want to actually stop the operation. So that's why we use require once, right? So remember, each database operation, all of these database operation activities, we need to have a separate PHP file, right? So that PHP file need to include this settings.php using require once command, and check whether the connection is true or false. If it is true, then you can go ahead with the operations. So these are the two examples that I can provide. So in here also, inserting a record, I first include or require once the settings PHP file, right? And I check the connection. If the connection is successful, then I insert the record, right? So the advantage of this is, if I wanted to change all my settings, I can change only once in my settings.php, right? So I don't need to go through each and every database operation file and do the changes. So that's the main advantage.